Hello, everybody. My name is Ethan, and welcome to something that I haven't really ever done before, and that is coding on a YouTube channel. This is supposed to be kind of a series of me learning C Sharp. I'll kind of go into why I want to learn C Sharp, where my coding language skills are right now, and kind of other stuff like that. So basically, I'll start off by saying this is not the first video I've recorded on this. As you can see, I'm going to be using Codecademy. I think they do a pretty good job at teaching coding languages, just the basics of it, and that's kind of what I need to do first and foremost. I have never coded long-term in C or C Sharp. Primarily, I have learned in Python, another coding language that is very useful. It's a very well-developed language. I have taken a class on C. I have done 13% of this Learn C Sharp course, and that's because I recorded another video about it, the kind of beginnings, and that video file got corrupted because of course it did. I could go back and I could re-record the video, but it was about an hour long, and I don't really feel like going over material. But basically, yeah, I want to learn C Sharp, and I thought I'd bring you along on my journey here. I feel like doing this keeps me a little bit more consistent with my coding. And so hopefully I can get right into it. And yeah, I'm going to just probably jump right in right away. And I'll kind of try and think of anything that I could possibly say that would come up that I'd want to talk about. So in the previous lesson, I learned about a couple of different things. The first one you can see here, it's the console write line command. So console write line just prints something to the console, and there's also console read line, which allows user input in the console. And then finally, I learned a little bit about data types. So when we initialize a variable, we have to initialize what type it is. So for instance, wine here is a string variable. We want it saved, or wine is just a string, sorry. Drink is the variable we want saved, so we have to specify that drink is a string variable. That's pretty much where I've been at. We learned a couple other things, but off the top of my head, that was pretty much it. So we'll go into the next thing, which is working with text. And we're going to look at the syllabus here. You could also kind of see what I did. So right now we're learning data types and variables. So I finished the C world, or the Hello World C Sharp. This is kind of how it works. You'll have a bunch of different little prompts here that we go through. Right now we're doing the working with text in the Learn C Sharp data types and variables. So we're working with text, and we're going to go through all these parts hopefully today, and then make a little project here, I believe, at the end. So that's kind of the idea for today, and we'll see how that goes. So working with text is a fundamental part of writing programs, whether it's to provide instructions to a user, gathering data like a name or address, or writing a new form of poetry. Text enables us to bring human language to a computational form. In this lesson, we'll look at the two commonly used data types in C, or text data types, char and string. By the end of this lesson, you'll be able to manipulate textual data and write programs that take in user inputs and optimize customizable messages like or using variables, operators, and built-in methods. So when we run this one, it's going to say March hare said in an encouraging tone. Looks like a bit of a poem, right? So we get to see some new commands, perhaps like I don't think there's actually any. Oh yeah, to lower maybe index of. So some new stuff we're going to be learning. Okay, building strings. A string is a group of characters surrounded by quotation marks, like https://codecademy.com, or to be or not to be. String is a collection of smaller data type like char, which is a single character like a or question mark. To define a variable as a string, you write the data type, then the variable name, then set it equal to the value, which ends inside of quotation marks. The variable name is named variable name. It's of string type, and its value is puppy. So kind of easy one there. Escape character sequences. What happens when you need to include quotes in a string? You can use an escape sequence. An escape sequence uses the backslash before an inner quote mark, so the program doesn't read them as an end of a sequence. Makes sense, right? We're going to have to include those in those hash marks. We can use escape sequences to create a new line. That means when we print the console, it will print that line below the rest. If printed on its own, it will create an empty line. To create a new line, use the character combination \n. To create the string variable, create a string variable named first sentence and save the following string. So we're going to obviously initialize it as the string variable here. Then we'll name our variable, and then we're going to, in quotes here, and I'm immediately going to just put a semicolon at the end there. We are going to type this out. And I'm going to guess that we're going to want to do a \n. So let's see if we did that one right. It looks like we did. So I'm hoping that the backslash was intended here to include that new line, and I think I did that correctly there. So in a second string variable, we're going to name it first speech. So again, string variable first speech. And we're going to set that equal to the following string. So first, again, I'm going to do the exact same thing, create a little quotation mark area, and it is in quotation marks. So we're going to have to use that backslash quotation mark, my dear Mr. Bennett. And then I assume I'll go like the backslash again. Let's actually make sure that I'm doing that right. Okay, it's before. So you always do it before. Good to check there that I was doing it correct. So then I'll do said his lady to him one day. And then we're going to do the exact same thing with that backslash quotation mark. Have you heard that Netherfield Park is let at last? And again, the backslash quotation mark. And I'm going to get rid of that one. And make sure to use escape characters when necessary. So that should be hopefully pretty good. It looks good to me, so yes. Using console writeLine print each variable. Okay, so we're going to use that console writeLine command that I learned in the previous one. Again, I'm very sorry that I forgot, or the file got corrupted. But you didn't miss much. The console writeLine command is pretty self-explanatory. So hopefully I did everything correct, and I did it. Oh, okay, I did it to print a new line in between the. Oh, okay. So we want to console. Dot. I didn't read that part. That is completely my bad. Backslash n, right? That's what it wants in between them. That should now be good. Cool. So it doesn't actually look like I had to put first the space here. I want to see if this still works. Okay, that does still work. Cool. Okay, and let's just make sure that we're doing everything correct here. We'll have the perfect thing. I know it's already correct and we could have moved on, but I want to make sure that I remember my question mark at the end there. I think everything is good now, though. So we're going to learn now about string concatenation. Often we want to combine strings together or combine strings with a value that we've saved to a variable. A common way to do this is using string concatenation. String concatenation is when we combine strings using the addition symbol, the plus symbol, literally adding one string to another. So string, your favorite musician, my favorite musician, console.writeLine, your favorite musician is plus, and mine is plus, right? We write the first part of our string, end it with a double quote, including an addition symbol, and put our variable. However, there are a couple of things to pay attention to if we want to concatenate a string with something that is another data type. C# will implicitly convert that value to a string. Make sure that you include spaces and proper punctuation so that when it prints out, your variable strings aren't squished between the rest of your statement. Notice how we have to create a one-character string at the end to include the period there. So let's go down to the instructions here. Let's use a string concatenation to tell a story. Come up with a beginning, middle, and end to the story and save them to corresponding values, beginning, middle, and end. So I am going to create a couple of variables here. Once upon a time, I'll do fun one here. I don't know, and just do this. Yep, string middle equals in a galaxy far away. String and DMX monkey ruled the world. Concatenate the string and variables. So first we'll run this code to make sure that we didn't make any mistakes here. I don't believe we did, but looks like we are good. Concatenate your three strings into a variable named story. So it's going to be another string named story, and we're going to concatenate here. So we'll do beginning plus middle plus end. And hopefully I did that right. Cool. And now we're going to print story to the console by doing the console.writeLine command with our story in it. And we'll see how that ends up printing out for us. So it kind of did something that we didn't, want, obviously. And that's all being on one line. Maybe if we wanted it on new lines, what we would do is I might just \n in here, and that should now hopefully do exactly what we want. Okay, that's kind of more what I wanted. DMX monkey ruling the world in a time, right? Okay, cool. If you're wondering who DMX monkey is, he's our mascot right here. He is let me grab him real quick. He sits and he helps us code. As you can see, his shirt says DMX, but he is a really cute little guy, right? We'll throw him back here, and he'll sit and he'll help us code the rest of today. Okay, string interpolation. When string concatenation is easy to read, it can get annoying to write. Another option is string interpolation. String interpolation was introduced in C#6 and enables us to insert our variable values and expressions into the middle of a string without having to worry about spaces and punctuation. So this is kind of the form that it's going to take. The $sign here is confusing me a little bit, so let's see what that means. Notice that we have just one string, which we prepend with the $sign symbol. Excuse me. Make sure there isn't a space between the $sign and the starting quotation mark. Whenever we need to insert a variable, we surround it with braces. For more on string interpolation, check out Microsoft's documentation. An older Geez. In older documentation, you may come across a slightly similar syntax. This style is known as string formatting or composite formatting. Since the introduction of string interpolation, it is rarely used, but in case you come across it. Okay, so let's revisit our story. We're going to just immediately change this to DMX monkey climbed a tree. Using provided beginning middle interpolate the story variables. So we want to do, we're saving it to a new string called story. I'm going to quickly just reset the page, and hopefully that gets rid of the issue that I was getting with the... Sometimes if you're on Codecademy for a little bit, we've been on it for only 15 minutes, but sometimes it's best to just restart the whole page because I've noticed that my keyboard starts to lag a little bit when I'm typing. So string story is equal to an interesting one. So we're going to do yeah, so we do $ this with this, and then we'll do something like beginning once upon a time we'll do something like this again. I want to have that bit of that. Okay, let's hope that ended up working like the way we wanted it to. Looks like we're good. I'm not 100% sure first, but of course it's going to want us to print the story to the console by doing that right line into console. Right? Let's see if that ended up working. Okay, so looks like we got this to work, but we have an error over in the console here. So let's end up seeing what they did. Okay. So when they did it, they added some stuff here. Let's replace with solution. I'll again quick change this. I'm interested to see if this one will run into the console because I wouldn't know why exactly. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure why it ended up breaking. If I had to guess, it's because we had multiple /new lines, perhaps, but that one's actually a bit of a question for me. So let's get some info about strings. In addition to containing the value of a piece of text, string can also contain information about themselves. It can be useful to know the properties when working with strings. There are several built-in .NET methods that we can use to get more information about strings. So string length, obviously very important. So user tweet.length returns the length of the tweet. We can append length property to a string that we have, such as a user tweet. We can also find the position of a specific character using the index of function, as you can see right here. Index of, this method is useful for searching for something inside of a string, and it's going to give us the index position, and I believe it is indexed, at 0. Since positioning starts at 0, the second string will return 1. If it doesn't exist in the string, it will return a -1. That's quite interesting, because in Python, -1 would indicate the -1 position, which would be that O there. So if we pass an empty string, it will return 0. If it occurs more than once, it will return the first instance. So you've been asked to build a program that verifies some information about a piece of data. First, check the length of the password and save the result to the variable password length. So string password length is actually, I don't believe it's going to be a string. It's most likely going to be an int. So we'll do password length, and then we'll do the password dot index of and or not, what am I doing here? Password dot length, and that should work now, I believe. Oh, maybe not, because it's not a function. That's interesting that the other one is, but we'll do that instead, and hopefully that works perfectly fine. Yep, it does, but it still says we have some errors here, so I'm a little concerned with that. The name password check. Because we're going again to see if the password uses a symbol. So we'll do another thing here. If I had to guess, it's going to return. It's checking. Let's see if the password contains any special characters like an exclamation point. So irrelevant. Okay, password. So we would do int password check is equal to password dot index of exclamation point. Okay, that ends up working. It was just a little confusing there for a second because that isn't exactly how I would do it in a different coding language like Python. You wouldn't think about just checking. I would want to return probably a true or false if we want to see if it contains any special characters. I'm going to view solution quick just to check and see if it's what it is, and yep, it is the exact same. So we ended up doing that one quite nicely. Okay, get parts of strings. We can also use built-in .NET methods to grab parts of strings. This is obviously very interesting. So .substring grabs a part of a string using a specified character position. So we would use it as a place to find this. It's going to grab, if we only want to use part of the string, but we keep the original data intact. So the instance, we want to use the string plant name, but grab cactus. We use index to find where cactus starts. So cactus starts at index 11. So there we are. We can also pass .substring a second argument, which will determine the number of characters in the resulting substring. For example, the following code shows how we use substring with 2 arguments to specify length of our substring. Okay, cool. So the first one is where it starts and how long it is, right? So which will determine the number of characters in the resulting substring. So for example, returns 15, and then if we do char u, plant name, char position, returns u. Okay. Similar to the above example, we will use index of to grab the character position, which in this case is 15. We'll then take the value of string and set brackets and place the char position value inside the brackets. In the program.cs, you are given a string defined as start strand. Your goal is to find the ending condition for a DNA strand TGA, and then print out the substring of the start strand that starts from the first character and goes through TGA. This will output a valid DNA strand. You do not need to know a lot of understanding of biology, obviously. First, use the more info on DNA. There we go. If you want it, I'll put it on the screen for 2 seconds here. Okay, I do not need to know about DNA. Not my major. This, first, use index of to find the location of TGA in the start strand. So we're going to find the location of TGA by using, hey, do you want us to do a variable? Yes, okay, so it wants us to do a variable called TGA, and we're going to set that equal to start strand dot substring, and we're going to pass the character TGA, and we want in the second, oh no, it just wants that, so I think that's the correct, oh no, come on, let's remember our semicolons here. And did you use index of method? I did not use the index of. So I believe it wants us to use, obviously, index of instead of that. Did you add a string between the parentheses of index of? I believe I did. First, use index of to find the location of TGA. Okay, it's because I did that, so maybe it's having a hard time finding it. Did you find an int variable? Oh, it is an int variable. That is correct. Little mistake there. So I thought it was a string, but obviously if we're finding the index of a position, it is going to be an int variable. So next we're going to create two variables called start point and length. Start point should be set to 0 and length should be set to 3 more than the value of TGA. So we are going to do the first one, which is start point. Start point looks like it's going to be an integer because it wants us to set start point to a value of 0. And then finally, we want another value of length, and we're going to set that equal to the value of TGA plus 3. Right? 3 more than the value of TGA. For 2 reasons. Index of captures strand, and, well, add 2. When using substring with 2 arguments, substring captures the amount of characters you'll need. Okay, so hopefully I did not do that right. Hopefully now I did it right. Did you find a string named DNA? Oh, it's because I was like, what happened? Okay. So we are going to now use substring to retrieve and substring to retrieve a start strand that starts from the start point and has length of length. Okay, so again, we're going to use a string variable named DNA that has the method of start strand dot sub, I believe it is substring, and then we're going to have the first variable or parameter be start point, and the second one is going to be length. And of course we are going to remember this time to put our semicolon and not be a bum. And boom, that ended up working. You are worried that there might have been a mutation within this strand of DNA. Take a look at the 4th character to determine whether or not the strand has mutated. If it is equal to G, there has been no mutation. If it is equal to C or A, there has been a mutation. Use bracket notation to grab the 4th character in the DNA strand. So it wants us, and show the result in the console. So it wants us to do a thing here. So we'll do the bracket manipulation, as you can see up here. It's going to end up being a char variable, and I'm just going to name it the variable v. And we're going to set that equal to DNA with the position 3, because we want to take a peek at that one. And then we're going to do a console dot write line, because we want it printed into the console, and we'll do that variable v, and remember my semicolon, and hopefully that works. So it is a value of C, so I do believe there is a this does mean that there is a mutation within the gene. And we're going to take a peek at the solution here. And they just did DNA. I set it to a completely new variable, so pretty similar, but we're going to keep my code. I guess I could have done it all in one line there, so that's good to know. Okay, manipulate strings. There are also built-in net functions or methods that we can use to manipulate text data. Using these methods on a string doesn't change the string itself, but creates an entirely new one. To upper and to lower, we can quickly change the case of our strings using the methods to upper or to lower. These methods are useful if we want to make our text look like E. Cummings' poem, or make it appear like we forgot to turn our caps lock key off. String shouting. I'm not shouting, you're shouting to upper. Prints, I'm not shouting, you're shouting. Right. You're writing a movie script that has the trouble following the style guide. You need to transform the sentence so that the first two words, close on, are all in caps and the rest is lowercase. So, your assistant already started on the program and separated the necessary strings to save them into variables, camera directions, and scene directions. First, make all the letters in camera directions uppercase. So we'll do camera and directions equals camera, and it should be a string here. Camera directions dot to upper, but this one has that. Oh, no, thank you. Perfect. Hopefully that ends up working out for me. Looks like it did. I'm wondering why I'm getting a local variable named camera directions is already defined in the scope. So now make all the letters in scene description lowercase and resave them to this. So, because it's, I see. I don't need to specify that it is a string because it already was specified as a string up here. So I should be able to just do scene description is equal to, I don't know if I'm spelling scene correct there. I don't think I am. I'm adding a C for no reason. Description dot to lower, and that should work now. I believe that's going to fix the error that I had previously. Yes, it does. So that's nice to know. You just don't do that. It looks like we've gotten through this entire working with text, which is very exciting. We can do some review here. How we've learned about how to work with textual data in a few different ways. How to save char and string variables, use the addition symbol, interpolate strings for easier string construction, find information about string using length and index of, grab character and parts of strings using substring, and use built-in methods such as to upper or to lower to manipulate strings. So, you can use what you've learned to write a short program, write a program that converts part of a text to uppercase and lowercase to look like random case, that randomly converts a part of text. So that would be interesting. And you can also do some other stuff. So a lot of stuff that we have in here. Very next. Let's see what is up next. We're going to have a little bit of a quiz here. So we have 12 questions. Hopefully I don't flunk the quiz. In C#, a computer checks for type errors. I believe it's while the program runs, but I could be wrong. It's not going to be after a program runs. It might be before a program. I'm going to go with before a program runs. Yeah, so correct. C is a statistically typed language, so it checks data types before the program is run. Yeah, I kind of remembered learning about that. So we have a bit of a program issue here, so let's write a program that uses string interpolation and the variables tree name and tree family to print that maple tree is part of the Dedigenous family. So we're going to need to grab that $sign first. That was one of the more important parts about string interpolation, not concatenation, interpolation. And we want to print the maple tree, so we're going to use tree name first, and we'll put that in those curly braces. And then the same thing is going to be deciduous. I'm not sure. Not a tree guy. So let's check that answer there. Looks like we got that one correct. Perfect. So what will be the output of this program? So we have int num is equal to 1. That makes sense to me. String population is equal to all. We're going to do console write line, and we're going to do num plus. So we're going to do num, which is 1 ring to rule them all, and 1 ring to rule them all. I believe when you do this, it mentioned that when you do string concatenation, it will convert this into a string. Yes, the program uses string concatenation, so to combine. Yeah, okay. Perfect. Given this variable definition, which statement would you throw an error? So double is equal to 3. So which one would throw a error? I believe it's going to be that 2 upper, because we have a double number here, and we're going to try and put it in uppercase. Doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, so I'm going to say 2 upper. Yep, because it only works with char and string. Perfect. If the output of this code is 2, which operator would be between 20 and 6? So let's take a peek here. 20 times 6 is 2, not 2. 20% 6 is going to be that remainder of 2 that we want, right? Whereas the division symbol is just going to be the exact number, since they're both not floating point or double floats. I'm going to say it's that percent symbol. And yeah, that one's correct. In C#, what type of conversion would you have to do to change a double into an int? So you'd have to make an explicit conversion, because if it was the other way around, you're not going to probably lose any data, but you might lose the data from a double to an int. So I'm going to say an explicit. Yep, contains more information than an int. We need to use explicit casting methods. Okay, set the variable toy equal to 1. So we are going to set it equal to 1. And increase the value of toy by 4. So now toy equals 5. So that's going to be that plus equals operator. And that should be correct. All right, access the first letter of the string initials. So we're going to do that by using them, the brackets, and putting index 0 within those brackets, and we're going to get that one correct. Set the variable gallery equal to Gagosian, I have no idea, Gagosian maybe, and the variable price to 12.3. So the first thing we're going to need to do is specify that this is a string variable, and we're going to set the variable price to 12.3. In this case, I don't see float, so I will use double instead, because they are very similar, but floating point's typically only 1 decimal point. Double is going to be multiple. So we'll check that out. Perfect. Set the variable name hours equal to 10, so we'll do that. And then decrease the value of hours by 2, so now that it equals 8. So we're going to use the subtraction equals sign, and that should be good. Which line of code can we use to convert the int variable to the int variable speed to a double variable named specific speed? So we are going to obviously use double specific speed, and because we are going from an int to a double, I believe we're able to just do a implicit conversion like this one. Yep. So correct, this line of code can be implicitly converted to an int as a double, since there be no loss of data. Correct. Which of these will run without error? So this one is going to run without error. If these are all very similar, I don't like that they don't have any lower username. I'm going to say it's this one right here. Yep, needs to be appended to a string in order to make it lowercase. And we ended up getting 100% on that quiz, so pretty happy with that. We're going to click the continue learning and kind of preview what will be in the next video, because after this I'm going to end the video. But it looks like we are going to be doing some fun stuff actually, this is all in the same section, so maybe I can continue this Mad Libs and I'll finish this project, and then I think we have one more project and we'll be done after that. So the video should be about an hour long. I was kind of planning on that, so I thought I went through it pretty quickly there, but we actually have a couple of things. In the next video, we'll be learning about logic and conditionals. So in this one, we learned a whole lot about more data types and variables. So, Mad Libs. In C# variables and string interpolation allow us to transform a piece of text by swapping out different pieces of information. In this project, we'll use C# to write a Mad Libs word game. Mad Libs are short stories with blanks for the player to fill in and represent different parts of speech. The end result is really hilarious and strange story. Here's an example of Roses Are Red poem changed by a Mad Lib. Mad Lib requires a short story, so let's begin here. Alright, for the first task, begin by completing the multi-line comment that describes this program. You'll need to be constantly thinking from a user's point of view. They're the ones who run your program. Make sure that your program is easy for others to understand. This program will ask the user for Mad Lib parts of speech, like nouns, verbs, and adjectives, etc. Once they have inputted their parts of speech, a completed Mad Lib will be printed to the console. Right? That's kind of what we want. So we can complete that. Inform the user that the program is running. You'll need to be constantly thinking from the user's point of view. Before the string story, print a message to let the user know that the Mad Lib has started. So before the string story, we are going to print console . So it wants us to do it right here. Oh, let the new user know that the program is starting. So we'll do console.writeLine. The Mad Lib has begun. ... And I'm going to just, for ease here, put a new line right there. So before print story printed. Okay, so we did that part. Give your story a title. Change the value of the variable title to a title that you like. So this morning, blank woke up. It's going to be a blank day. Outside a bunch of blanks were protesting to keep blank in stores. They began to blank a silly story. Okay. We give our story a title. Take a look at the string variable named story. It is set equal to a string that contains our story. Let's create the variables now. Now we're going to create the variables that we'll be using in our story. Make sure to declare all the variables above the variable story, otherwise you won't be able to use them in the story. So console.write. The story that we have provided is going to need a main character. Ask the user for an input about a story and a variable string name. So, alright, so we're going to define user input and variables, right? So for the first one, it wants us to do console.writeLine. enter a name. And then on the next line, it wants us to do a console.read line. And I'm going to kind of go back over here quickly and do a couple of adjustments there. But we'll do string name is equal to. You'll need to ask the user for 3 adjectives. An adjective is a word that describes a noun. Obviously, I ask a user for the input 3 separate times. Okay, so we'll do another variable here. I'm going to give myself a little bit of space. So we'll do console.write line, enter your first an adjective. And then we'll do string adjective 1 is equal to console.readLine. It wants us to do multiple, so I'm going to just kind of do a copy paste thing here and do that. And just to make sure that any user wouldn't be able to make a mistake here, I'm going to enter a second adjective, enter a third, just in case they see it multiple times and they're like, why am I getting asked multiple times? It's good practice to save your code and run every few steps to make sure there aren't any bugs. So we can save it here. Looks like there's no bugs, so we'll use .NET run. Enter a name, so of course DMX monkey. Enter an adjective. We'll do blue. Enter a second adjective. We'll do stinky. And add a third adjective, we'll do green. Okay, and it looks like our code runs perfectly. It does exactly what we want it to do. So we did that. Nice. Moving on, you also need to ask for one verb. So we'll do the exact same thing. We'll do a console.write line. Enter a verb. And I keep doing regular colon, but that's okay. And then we're going to set that equal to the verb variable, and that'll be another console.read line. Two nouns. So we'll need 2 nouns. So we're going to do another console.write line, and that I don't like because I forgot to capitalize the W here and the W here. Console.write line, and this one will be enter a noun. And then we'll do string noun1 is equal to console.readLine, and we'll do that. So I'm going to do the exact same thing I did for the adjectives. I'm going to copy and paste here. Oops. Looks like I cut it off by a second there. Console.write, and we're going to change the variable to 2, and we're going to say enter a second noun. And that will be saved to noun2. We got the 2 nouns. This is a story where it can get very fun and weird. Ask the user to input one of each of the following. Oh boy. Okay, perfect. So we're going to end up saving, we're going to be doing a lot of console write lines here. So console.write line, enter an animal, string animal is equal to console.readLine. And I kind of think you get the idea here. Just make sure everything's correct. Okay, so what we'll do here is I'm going to copy and paste, and after every copy and paste here, I am going to change it from animal to enter a food, and we'll save that to the variable food. And we'll do the exact same thing. Enter a fruit. And we'll save that to the variable fruit. And we'll do the next one, which is a superhero. And we'll save that to the variable superhero. And then we'll do enter a country. And we'll save that to the variable country. And then the next one would be a variable that is a dessert. And we're going to save that to dessert. And finally, we'll do enter a year. And I didn't change a lot of these ands, so let me, just for this, I guess I should have done a food, because all the other ones were A's instead of an So, and then we'll save that to the value of year. And that should be everything. Make sure to input all the different variables. All the words are needed for the story. Next step is to insert all of the user's inputs into blank spaces of the story using string interpolation. Put a $sign. So we'll do a $sign here. And now we're going to just start entering in stuff. So the first one is going to be the name, first adjective, second adjective. Okay, so it gives us kind of a list of how to do this. We are going to first put the name, and the name is under the name variable. The first one is going to be ADJ1. It is going to be and then we're going to do ADJ2 outside a bunch of animal. We're protesting to keep food in stores. They began to, the second one would be the verb that we did, the rhythm of, first noun, so we'll do noun 1. I believe that's what I said it as, noun 1, exactly, which made all of the fruit, very, third adjective, so we'll do ADJ3. Concerned, we'll do name, texted. After name, it would be superhero, who flew. Country, who flew. Oh, name first, name 2, country, and dropped after country. It would be name in a puddle of frozen dessert. Name woke up in the year. Oh. Where the world where noun 2. Okay, I think I did a good job here doing all those correctly. Complete and run the program. Run a line of code that prints out the completed story to the terminal. Console.writeLine story. So we'll save this. It looks like we didn't have any errors, so I will then do the .NET run. And we get a ton of errors. Let's see why we got all these errors. Build failed, program done. Expected. So it appears it's having an issue with this. Am I doing something wrong in this string? If you encounter an error while running a program, make sure to double check that your code for typos or mistakes. If the program runs successfully in task 7, then the errors in the code you wrote after that point, common errors and mismatch between the number of variables can be the number of placeholders, an empty placeholder, a mismatch in variable names. If you're feeling ambitious, modify the story and create code of your very own Mad Libs. So we're having some sort of error here where I've done all the variables correct. Let's see what happens if I get rid of this and attempt to do the .NET run again. .NET run one more time. It's still giving me a ton of errors. So why is it giving me a ton of errors is the good question here. When we did it originally, I'm going to restart here because it is giving me a ton of business here. So now it shouldn't be lagging quite as bad there. So when we did it originally, these lines all worked perfectly fine. These lines, that is. So I'm wondering why exactly these ones are not working. String, 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 string. Okay. Tools. Let's see what they're saying here. Is there anything I could do here? It's just dark mode. I'm wondering why we're getting such an interesting error here. It's from something that was previous to step 7 here. Sorry about the Discord. Oh, you guys shouldn't even see it. That's good. It's good practice to save and run your code. So I did it all up to the verb variable. Basically, I did the 3 adjectives, and that worked perfectly. So let's put this back, and I'm going to quickly do the exact same thing I did previously and get rid of that and save it. And we don't get any errors, but when we click .NET run, what happens? The build failed, fix the errors and run again. Desert does not exist. So in this case, it's saying, okay, our other variables that are a part of the story here don't exist. So again, to kind of clear this, I'm going to simply refresh the page here so we don't get a ton of interesting errors. And I'm going to add these back here. So let's just make sure that I am using the correct names for everything. So I have name used. Yep. Adjective 1, adjective 2, adjective 3. Those were the ones that were used. Verb, was that correctly used? Yep. Noun 1. Noun 1 is correctly used. Noun 2. Let's try and save it again and see what happens. .NET run. So it's that same error as before. Fix the build errors and do something with that. So what am I getting wrong here is the main question. Put the first quotation part. Put a question mark in front of the first quotation mark, which I did. $, and story, and replace each underscore with a set of empty braces. I'm using the curly braces. I mean, I literally have the exact same thing. Console.WriteLine story. Do I have... found it. Okay, found the error. When I was copy and pasting all of those things, I ended up copying a colon instead of a semicolon. So if you guys spotted that previously, then good on you. But it took me quite a second to sit here and just kind of look at the entire program to see what I was doing wrong. So that teaches you that it is important, obviously, to have that. It looks like it's all semicolons now. I am going to save that now. And then I am going to restart the page just quickly. And hopefully now this is the exact errors that I made. So now, again, I'm just going to click save quickly. I believe that will perfectly work now. .NET run. Hopefully no errors. Yes, okay. So the Mad Lib has begun. A silly story. Enter a name. All right. DMX Monkey. Let's enter an adjective. We'll have it be silly. Enter a second adjective. We'll do smelly. And third adjective, we'll do blue. Verb, sprinting. I don't know why I'm capitalizing every single one of them. Banana, but now we have to go with it. Enter a second noun. Peanut butter. Enter an animal. Monkey. Enter a food. Ants on a log. Enter a fruit. Mango. Enter a superhero. Let's do Gorilla Grood. Enter a country. We'll do Democratic Republic of the Congo. Enter a dessert. Banana split. Enter a year. 3001. This morning, DMX Monkey woke up feeling silly. It's going to be a smelly day outside. A bunch of monkeys were protesting to keep ants on a log in stores. They began to sprinting to the rhythm of the banana, which made all the mangoes very blue. Concerned, DMX Monkeys texted Gorilla Grood, who flew DMX Monkey to Democratic Republic of the Congo and dropped DMX Monkey in a puddle of frozen banana split. DMX Monkey woke up in the year 3001, where peanut butter ruled the world. There we go. Ended up working really nicely. So it looks like we have one more project here. That project took about 22 minutes. This one hopefully will not take me just as long, but we can get through this one hopefully pretty quickly. We got 12 points of interest here. So you have three types of coins. Bronze coins worth 1 cent, silver coins worth 5 cents, and a gold coin worth 10 cents. What's the minimum number of coins that equals 98 cents? It's a hard question to answer in your head, but it's a fun problem to solve with programming. In this project, you'll see C# to build a money maker, a program which uses a user enters an amount and gets the minimum number of coins to equal that value. For example, 16 cents would be 16 bronze coins, 3 silver coins, and a bronze coin, or a gold coin, a silver coin, and a bronze coin. We'd like the last option because it's a fused coins. This project will get you comfortable with division, rounding down using math.floor, and modulo. You can find how many coins fit into an amount by dividing the amount of that coin value, rounding down, and finding the remainder. Let's walk through an example. The user enters 15 cents, and a gold coin is 10 cents. So 1.5 gold coins fit into the total. But we can't divide coins in half, so instead we'd round down to the nearest whole number. You can find the remaining using modulo. Using the remainder, repeat the process with smaller coins. Run the code wants to understand the starting code to use .NET Run in the terminal. So we're going to save that code first, and we'll do .NET Run. and it is going to say welcome to the moneymaker. That's literally all it does. So first we're going to say console dot write line to ask the user for an amount to convert. Enter amount of money in cents. And we're going to save that variable as a, what would we save it as here? I would assume a double, as we would want to do double user cents equals console dot read line. And we're not going to make the same mistakes as last time. So double user dot read line, we're going to save that now. Convert that captured value into a string to a number, right? So we'll do string user cents string. Get rid of that little s. Is equal to user cents dot, or actually we'll do this and convert to double. Perfect. That will work now, hopefully. And yep, looks good so far. Before we get to calculating, let the user know that what you're about to do. For example, if the user entered 16, the program should write to the console that, right. So we're going to do console.write line. And we'll do a $. We'll do that same kind of idea that we were doing before. $, and of course remembering to put the semicolon at the end there. And we'll put the first thing here and we'll say user cents is equal to ... Right? Okay, cool. Run the code to check if it works so far. So we'll run and save this, and then we'll do that .net run function that we love so much. It's going to run here, and it's going to say welcome to moneymaker. Enter an amount of money in cents. So if I do 45 cents, 45. Oh, I didn't put cents. Cents is equal to. So we kind of get the idea. Cents is equal to, all right, perfect. Nice. Okay, convert to coins. Convert to coins. We need to know the value of each type of coin. Define two variables that hold the values. A gold coin is worth 10 cents. Don't worry about the bronze coins for now. So we are going to define two variables here. The first one is going to be a double named gold coin. And we're going to set that equal to the value of 10. And then we're going to do another double named silver coin. And we're going to set that equal to the value of 5. So now we have two variables. We're not going to worry about bronze coins for now. So we have the two variables there. And we're going to go on to step 7 here to find the maximum number of gold coins that fit into the amount. Example, 1 gold coin fits into 11 cents. Divide the amount by the gold divide the amount by the value of a gold coin, round down to the nearest integer, and store the result in a double called gold coins. So I'll actually change this to gold coin value and silver coin value just to make sure we are not getting confused by our variables. So first thing that we're going to do is save a variable called double.gold coins. And we're going to set that equal to the variable of okay, let me think about this. User sent. I'm going to do this backwards actually, and do user sense and user sense percent string to convert it to a double to make it just user sense, right? That makes a little bit more sense to me. Obviously, no pun intended. So we are going to do dividing by the gold coin value. So we'll divide by gold coin value, and that will give us the exact number of gold coins we can have, and we're going to have to use to find the remaining amount. So we'll do another variable. This is going to be called remainder after gold. So that's going to be user sense divided by or percent gold coin value, right? That gives us our remainder. We're now going to do the amount of silver coins. So basically going to be very similar, right? We're going to do double silver coins is going to end up being equal to remainder after gold divided by silver coin value. And then we're going to do the exact same thing and do that remainder after silver is equal to remainder after gold, but this time obviously using modulo, so we'll do silver coin value. Looking good so far. Oh, okay, so it wants us to use the exact same remainder variable. So we'll do, instead of that, we'll do remainder, and we'll just instead update the remainder variable, so we won't need to specify that it is a double again here. It wants us to use that same remainder variable instead of a remainder after gold and a remainder after silver. So now we're going to update this value to be like that. So print out all of the coins. Okay. So it wants us to now print out a couple of things. So we'll do 3 console.write-lines. The first one is going to be gold coins. And then we're going to do a bit of a string concatenation here. We'll do gold coins. And I'm going to kind of do a little bit of a cheating thing here and do a couple more console.write-lines and instead change some things around here so that we have not have to do that much typing. And we'll do bronze coins. We didn't need to do the extra work. Let's save this up, make sure that I've done everything correct here. It looks like it. Test your application to make sure it works. Make sure the 2 challenges, make sure it doesn't work if you put 16.2 using type conversion or math method round down their input. It did want me to use something to round down. So I actually want to do that lower method, .floor. I do want to actually do this last thing, .floor that, and I'm going to do the exact same thing here. That way we don't get a actual remainder. So math.floor. That's the one part that I forgot to actually do. But now if I save it and I do .net run, hopefully the program works. Welcome to the money maker. Enter amount of I keep saying monkey. So we're going to do 73 cents. 73 cents is equal to 7 gold coins, 0 silver coins, and 3 bronze coins. And it looks like our program works very well. That's obviously the best way to do it. You can't use any 5 coins. So I believe we did a pretty good job here. And I believe that is going to conclude our thing today. This project took a little bit less than the previous Mad Libs project, but we ended up getting them both done and both looking very, very nice. So in the next video, we are going to be introducing logic in C#. That's going to be super fun. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, please be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.